many times we see certain facts and we're sure that we know the truth. And the second look, we realize that we're very, very mistaken, even though we know the facts. I just want to end with this story from Rabbi Ronnie Greenwald, who I was very close to, who was the dean of my high school, who was also the head of Camp Sternberg. I'm sure a lot of girls know who he was. He was the greatest mind when it came to the chinuch of girls. So before I made him dean, we were talking, I was in Sternberg, and we were talking about kids getting thrown out of school. And so he said, I got to tell you a story. He said, there was a 10th grader thrown out of a school, and she did something really bad, and she got thrown out. And at that time, it wasn't like today we have 40 schools. In that town that she got thrown out of, there were 2 schools. She got thrown out of one, you're not getting into the other, that's it, you're done, you're home, you're not going to school. It wasn't like you could fly, we didn't do that in those days. You're out of school, you're out of school. So all the people and the pressure, they put on the Rebbitzin to take her back, and then they got money people on the board, and the Rebbitzin said, I am not letting her destroy my school, I am not taking her back. So these parents went to Ronnie Greenwald and said, you're our last hope, nobody could get the Rebbitzin, maybe you could talk to her. You know, well, I don't want to get involved. Yeah, okay, I'll go. He told me the story. He comes to the Rebbitzin, he walks in, the Rebbitzin sees him and goes, Rabbi Greenwald, I know why you're here. I can't take her back for the sake of the rest of the school. Please. He says, no, I just want to talk to you for 2 minutes. Said, okay, what do you want to say? So I want to ask you a theoretical question. Sure. What would it take for you, Rebbitzin, to throw a Bobby, a babuchka, an old Bobby? If she would come into your building, an old Bobby would walk into your building, what could she do in your building that would cause you to throw her out? She said, a Bobby? Nothing. What could she do? She could pull the fire alarm. I'm not throwing her out. She said, no, old Bobby. What, grandma, I throw grandmas out of my school? He looked her in the face and he said, you just threw a Bobby out of school. So what are you talking about? She goes, that 16-year-old girl that you threw out, that's a mommy, that's a Bobby, and it's an alta Bobby. One day she's going to be a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother. You did not throw out a 16-year-old. You threw out a Bobby. Rabbi Greenwald said the first look is a 16-year-old. The second look is having Havana. That I don't keep the 16-year-old. She'll never be a mother and a grandmother. So the Rebbe looked at Rabbi Greenwald and said, if you guarantee me that she'll be a good Bobby, I'll put her on probation. And she came back, she graduated, the whole story was forgotten, and he got her in. First look is a 16-year-old. Second look, this girl's going to be a grandmother. I'm going to throw her out now. I just threw out a grandmother. Anyone who's in chinuch has to be able to have the second look. If you cannot have the second look and you're a teacher, you should not be a teacher. Every parent has to have a second look. Your kid comes home with a failing test, so the first thing you see is a failed test. The second thing is Havana. Let's understand why he failed. Trauma, going through a hard time, learning disabilities. The second look is very, very, very different than the first look.